I'm not like my dad. I'm smarter than him. Better than him.
What up, welcome back to the channel. I'm Monet and we are locked in. We seen what happened with Monet, Lorenzo, and Kane. They think that they killed the GTG member, but of course we know that it was the wrong person that killed Zeke, because at the end of the episode Kane connected all the dots and it all pointed back to Lorenzo. Now we're going to jump into this and break down how this is going to affect the family moving forward, and also what is Lorenzo going to be able to do, because at this point he is no longer the father. He is no longer Poppy no more. Kane has become Poppy and he is now the son. So, you know, it's going to be an uphill battle for him, especially if he's trying to survive to the end of the season. Now, before we jump into this and break down how this Tejada family turmoil around Zeke Cross is going to play out, if you like power content, breakdowns, theories, and predictions like this, then hit your subscribe button and turn on your notification bell so you get something every time I upload. Make sure you hit that like button and follow me on Instagram right here. Now, Kane Tejada pieced things together. He went out there and got revenge for Drew, but unfortunately they killed the wrong person, and this person was paid by whoever killed Zeke. So let's jump into it. How will the Tejadas move forward with the death of the GTG member with the revenge for Zeke? There has never really been any real development when it came to Zeke Cross's death. We know that Zeke got shot in his back by somebody. We don't know who, but he got shot in the back by somebody. NYPD has no evidence. Now Davis, he's telling Monet, I don't have anything. But of course, Monet, she's still grieving. This is her first son. She took the blame for this. Davis is also going to have to watch out and watch his back, because we know that Detective Whitman is snooping around and all of this is tied together. Detective Whitman knows that Ezekiel Cross was dealing with Carrie Milgram. He thinks that Carrie Milgram was killed by Monet. So as you can see, there are a lot of moving parts here, but Monet does not care about anything else, just finding out about Zeke. Now again, Davis said the NYPD doesn't have any information. And with this, we see Lorenzo in the back. And the reason Lorenzo is listening is because we know that he killed Zeke, but he's trying to keep all of this under wraps, very quiet, so no one looks at him as a potential suspect in this killing. Because that night, Monet, she killed Dante. Tariq was there. Tariq is the only person she can trust. Lorenzo was trying to get Mecca, but instead he killed Zeke. With Davis coming around with this information about Zeke, of course Lorenzo is going to be listening, because he needs to stay 1 or 2 steps ahead when it comes to the whole case of Zeke, because he was the one to do it. Now, I've been mentioning that he was going to be walking on eggshells throughout this season to make sure that he doesn't piss off Monet. Well, Monet's barely left the living room, and while she's in there talking to Davis, Lorenzo is watching and we see a box of Zeke. So this is probably the moment where he takes the chain and the ring out of the box of memories that Zeke had, and he takes it to go give the GTG member. Now, of course, no one knows in the house except for him, so his job is to deter anybody from getting on his track. And since he's supposed to be the one in the streets looking for this killer, he's in the streets actually setting things up so the killer won't be him. We got to find somebody else. Now we have to insert Kane. If you know Kane, he's always looked up to his father. He always wanted to be the next in the footsteps, the heir to the throne, the king of the Tejada family. Well, if this was a regular business, like you see the Westons, they could groom them, they could train them and put them in that position to take over when they're done. But this is the dope game, and we know we can't trust anybody in the dope game. And the Tejadas, they're having that same issue within the 4 walls of their own home. Now, Lorenzo is trying to get everybody off his case, and he doesn't want to be out there trying to kill somebody. So he's telling his son, Kane, you need to go out there. But Kane keeps mentioning that you and Drew are supposed to be spreading the footprint throughout the city. You remember last season, who was talking to Mecca? It was Kane. Who was walking around the city together? Lorenzo and Drew. Well, Drew is with Everett, and now Kane, you need to step up and save the family. Lorenzo's telling him, listen, there's a GTG member out there. Whoever killed Zeke, we need to find out who did that so Monet can rest. But Lorenzo, he's not telling the whole story, and it looks like Kane is seeing straight through it that he's going out on dummy missions, because if the police don't have any evidence, the streets aren't really talking because he was on Mecca's property at the airport. It's just not adding up. But Kane needs to get out here per the orders of Lorenzo. We know what Drew was out there doing. He was over at Everett's house, but this needed to happen so we could see this storyline play out. He's supposed to be getting ready to be Everett's date. We're saying that Everett needs to be removed from Drew's life because right now it's a huge distraction. We just got a new connect, Noma, and he's over here planning dates. You see how that's not going to work when everyone's looking for Drew, depending on Drew? So Drew's going to come back over here later on, and that's where the butt whooping happens because Lorenzo is setting it up after the information he heard from Drew's brother, Kane. As I mentioned before, the Tejada family, you can't trust anybody within the four walls of your own home because everyone is trying to get ahead of the next person, even if that means throwing the other person under the bus. We all know what happened when Drew got whooped on. But if you look at the bigger picture, Lorenzo gave this gentleman some money. He also gave this gentleman a necklace with a ring on it, which was Zeke's, and told him that his son killed Little Guap. That's why this GTG member came over here and put his footprint on Drew's back, which was a GTG tag with a spray can. Now, Drew took a butt whooping because he was supposed to be at the house helping out with everything. But Drew decided to go on this date with Everett. He didn't make it there and ended up back at the house with a bruised face, a hurt ego, and a tatted up back. Lorenzo didn't want his child killed, but he wanted his child hurt just enough to make it believable that whoever did this must have did it to Zeke. Now Monet has to get the pain off of Drew's back and they leave. And Lorenzo was telling Kane, listen, you need to find who did this to your brother and take care of that. Whoever did that to him did it to Zeke. But Kane, he's in the streets. He knows some people don't move like this and it's not adding up for him. So he's telling them, I don't think this is happening. But Lorenzo gets upset because he wants this to get off his back. No one needs to know that Zeke was killed by Lorenzo. And Kane, you gotta save your dad. Although this killing that Monet did of this GTG member seems like is healing the wound, we gotta look at the grand scheme of things. Lorenzo feels like he's safe. In this whole season leading up to here, I've been saying there's gonna be a divide, so you have to choose your side. Well, we've seen it flip, and the power dynamics in the family are a little off because Monet is at the top. She wants to be at the top. But now Kane, after seeing everything, watch his demeanor during this shooting scene. He's not paying attention. He's saying, hey, he had this ring on him, so it looks like it might be him, but it just ain't adding up. And you hear Lorenzo screaming. Anytime someone starts screaming and trying to get louder than you, they're probably lying. They probably don't have any facts behind it. But Lorenzo just wanted this death to happen. And now the family is officially divided because Kane exposes Lorenzo to his face that, hey, I've been doing some work in the streets like you asked, and I found out who Zeke's killer is. Now, Monet doesn't need to know about this because this gives Kane the leverage to run the operation how he wants to run it up under Noma. So with all this being said, moving forward, the relationship between these two is going to be a father-son relationship, but Kane got the power. He's the father now because he's telling Lorenzo, you got to do things. Now, this is going to be bad because how long is Lorenzo going to be able to take orders from his son? How long is Lorenzo going to be able to stand in front of Monet and the rest of the family and Kane tells him what he can and can't do? You see what I'm saying? So now it's about to get a little rocky here. If he did that to Drew, got his own son set up to cover his murder, what will he do to Kane with Kane being in charge and telling him to move work for Noma? The family is about to be messed up on top of a potential Rico coming. There's a Rico coming and the whole family is already divided. No one can trust anybody. Diana's on campus. We don't know what she's doing. We're going to do a video for her. Drew's getting whooped on. Everett left. No one in the family's really respected him. And now Kane is equivalent to Monet, but a little bit ahead of Monet because he has the work. All right, let me know what you think about the Lorenzo and Kane dynamics. How is this going to work moving forward? I gave you some reasons of why it could get a little stagnant and they start turning on each other, just for the simple fact that that power, it is something that is hard to deal with if you ain't prepared for it. So Kane could be the one to take out Lorenzo if Lorenzo tries to do something behind his back, like what he pulled on Drew. Because at the end of the day, Drew was his son and he paid somebody to whoop him, not kill him, but whoop him to get even for the murder that he committed. So let me know what you think. I'm Monet J. Is Lorenzo going to make it out of this, or is Kane going to have to take out his dad because his dad backstabbed him? I'm Monet J. Thanks for watching. If you like this kind of content, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. I'm out.